Welcome back to the show. We are still discussing personal, business, and professional excellence with Commissioner Moses WATASA from Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Now, Commissioner, there are people who say they are not paid enough or motivated to excel or to perform. What is your view? Should we be mediocre because my salary is not 5 million and I'm earning instead 2 million?
No, absolutely not. Because first of all, we all know the pay we are going to receive before we take up the jobs that we do. So I cannot take up a job, then once I get into the job, I start complaining that I'm not well paid and therefore I will not deliver the outputs that are required of me. I think that is completely wrong. If there are any colleagues in government or even people working in the private sector or civil society, you took a job knowing what it pays. So please, you are expected to deliver the deliverables or the outputs that are expected of you. And in my view, that's one of the values that we need, which is related, Julius, to the point of resilience. Remember earlier I talked about short-termism. But if you are really going to go the distance and grow and become a successful person, either professionally or in business, you need to be resilient. There's no success that comes on a silver plate. It's a journey. And you know, every journey has corners, it has bends. Sometimes you have to drive through mountains, sometimes through potholes, sometimes through rocks. Before you reach, I've been to Chidepo, I don't know, Julius, if you have been there. I went to Chidepo by road. There's a point where I reached between Kotido and Kabong. And I was thinking to myself, but what if I had gone to Lake Mburo? It is also a national park. I would have driven just on Tamake. Or if I had gone to Chivale or Makshon Falls. But once we got to Chidepo, Julius, everyone said this was worth the challenges we encountered on the journey, because what a wonderful place. You know, Chidepo is between that valley. This side is South Sudan and this side is Kenya. It is sandwiched in there. Very beautiful place with some of the animals that you could only find in Chidepo. So if I can use the imagery of Chidepo, that wonderful end you are looking for, it doesn't come because the entire journey is soft. So if you are talking about pay is often, especially in the private sector, it is pegged on results. But even us work in government, if you are resilient and deliver the results and you get a promotion, it comes with additional pay and some benefits. So for me, it shouldn't be any issue, and it's part of the problem we are facing as a country. You find a young person has just gotten a job. Maybe you're paying him 1 million and he thinks he wants to earn 6 or 5 million, like someone who has worked in the same company for 13 years. It doesn't work like that. So we need to be resilient. We need to have a character or a core value that is about hard work and persistence in the face of challenges, because challenges are part of life. Ask anyone who doesn't meet challenges, or if there's anyone who doesn't meet them, I will tell you that person is not being honest. So even the pay, and you can see even the government, now the government is working on pay for scientists. It's not because government hates artists like me. I know that there has been a conversation going on. There are some of us who are saying, but this government also, don't they know we go to the same supermarkets and what? But government has to start somewhere. Because if there was enough money to pay everyone, the big pay, naturally, the government is fair to everyone. But now, the question is, where do you start from? Even in a company, if you want to be paid 20 million, and then you bring down the company, then where will you work? So this calls for tenacity, resilience, but also commitment to your work. Because if you do good work, by the way, it earns you recognition and often promotion. But if you come and the only thing your mind is fixated on is salary, and first of all, they will even pay you the 5, And because you are so fixated on salary, you will hear that someone in another company at your level probably earns 7 million. Are you going to leave your job? Or are you going to demand that your company pays you 7 million because another company is paying someone at your level of 7 million, but that might be a bigger company which has been around maybe for 60 years. Yours might be an SME in the category of small and medium enterprises, which is still growing, but has potential maybe in the future to pay you 7 million like the other one. So I think our people, even in the business sector, what I talked about, you cannot expect to be taking money out of your business like the guy who has been in manufacturing for like 18 years is taking out of his company. Because his company has grown, it has probably a presence in across the country. They are exporting to Congo, South Sudan, and Kenya, East Africa. So naturally, the dividends he earns as a director of the company are bigger than you who started a company about 3 or 4 years ago. And this calls for patience, it calls for resilience, it calls for commitment to keep working as you work to grow the enterprise or grow in your job in order for you to earn more as time goes by. So people should drop the idea that you must always be paid so much money in order for you to perform. If anything, there are so many studies that show that outputs are not necessarily contingent on pay. I mean, we know even here there are people who are paid quite highly, but they don't necessarily perform better than those who may not necessarily be paid highly. So good pay is good, let no one get me wrong, good pay is good, it motivates, but there's more to motivation than just good pay. And the point also is that if you are resilient, you are consistent, and put in a lot of effort, eventually you get recognized and get the good pay. So it should never be an excuse for people failing to work or people putting in half efforts and undermining themselves and the organizations, or if you work with the government like me, you undermine the government because you think you are not being highly paid. I think that is completely wrong. But eventually, you are the loser because the next time you look for people to promote, you certainly will not be one of them. In fact, in the worst case scenario.
Commissioner, growing up, I would see communities, families coming together. Today they clear somebody's garden, tomorrow they clear for another person. At the end of the day, we had food security, which was a form of excellence. And also, we know that in organizations, strong teams are linked to good performance and also excellence at work. So why is this one seemed now to be lacking? And how can we strengthen teamwork and collaboration?
Okay, indeed, Julius, incidentally, I was born in a village. Eh? Some people I meet in Kampala think I'm born in Kampala, I'm not. The issue you raise is a critical issue because I remember growing up in my native Bulambuli district where I'm born, children were like children of the community. If a neighbor found me abusing an older person, that neighbor would call me to order. That neighbor wouldn't say, this is a son, or this is not my son, or this is another person's child. So we were living like communally shared values that, for example, we should help out elderly people, we should respect elders. These were values shared across the community and were instilled and inculcated not just at household level, but also at community level. And I think some of the values of discipline that we have to date are derived from those formative stages. But if you look at now, the way people grow, like here in Kampala, you might find someone's your neighbor here, about 20 meters from your house. You don't know who that person is. He wakes up, he goes to work. You also wake up, you go to work, you come. In fact, there are people, you find you live even on the same flat, these condominiums, the flat, like where I ever lived in Bugolobi one time. In the late 1990s, each of the Bugolobi flats, the block has 32 units. So, but you are there with the people you don't know, and you live in the same building, actually, literally. So this individualism, the culture seems to have also percolated in some aspects of the workplace, in business. So you find the people come, someone sits on his desk from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and drives or goes home. Yet the teams that you are talking about is where our strength lies. Team, by the way, is derived from Japanese ideology. Team means together, everyone achieves more. So the word team is about togetherness, because in a team, each one, you bring your strengths, you bring your abilities, and it's like a football team. You have strikers, you have midfielders, you have defensive midfielders, you have defenders, you have a goalkeeper. If you are going to win a match, all these must work together. From goalkeeper to the strikers who score goals, to the defenders who ensure you don't concede goals. So even in the place of work, in the place of business, people must come together to harness the collective strengths and the capacities in order for the business or the place of work, the ministry or an agency or an NGO or a private company to thrive. Because we are gifted differently as people. And that's why the most effective teams should be as varied as possible. You find the people, some could be from different cultural settings, some could be from different religious practices. That's why if you look at the UN, they are extremely multicultural, because there are people who are very good at paying attention to detail. There are those who are very good at working with figures. There are those who are very good at operating like computer systems. There are those who are very good at dealing with hardware. So you need all of these. Then there are those who are good at selling. If you're a business entity, a business enterprise, there are those who are good at marketing, selling. There are those who are good at launching new products on the market. So you need different skills and capabilities to bring them together into one functional unit to ensure that you deliver, especially if you are dealing in a highly changing world like we are living in. I talked about technology. The tastes and preferences of consumers are changing. You need researchers to find out what works now and why it works, and how you need to develop and package new products to tap into the changing patterns of demand and the tastes of young people. If you look at Uganda, people aged below 30 years are 78% of the population. So you need teams that should reach out to those young people and find out what drives them. Why do they like maybe a certain type of phone? Why do they dress in a certain way? Because you're a business entity that is serving different business segments, which has young people, older people, people in the public sector like ourselves. Because the market is not one mass of homogeneous consumers, which even brings us to us who deliver public services. If you're in a ministry, there are women groups to serve, there are elder women, there are women who have been to school, there are women who are out of school, there are women in the marketplaces, market vendors, there are women in the civil society, there are women in the faith-based organizations, there are youth who are in school, who are out of school. All of these are part of the Ugandan community that we serve. So if we are looking at programs that work for everyone, we need to be mindful of the different clusters. And that means when you're also building your teams, you should have representation that connects with these different interested parties who are part of the broader public that we serve. So you need teams that are vastly and severally skilled and drilled to ensure that each of these segments that you serve is adequately attended to. So the real point and the way to go is by teams, build them, keep them together, motivate them, do team building sessions, including retreats, review sessions, coaching, and ensure that you not only have teams, but the teams are cohesive and they actually function. in which case you might even need the mechanisms for conflict resolution. Because when you bring people together, sometimes they also clash because I've said a lot of them come from different backgrounds, and the way they view work, the ethical issues, the socializing. So you need mechanisms to keep the teams together by addressing things like conflicts that may arise from time to time, to ensure that your team doesn't break up and sticks together and delivers as per the aspirations of either the business or, in our case, the government. For us to deliver good services, we have to remain cohesive. There's a new emerging paradigm in management called the WOG, W-O-G, the whole of the government approach. That approach presupposes that we have teams across government that should be cohesive, so that the government delivers as one. Because the government of Uganda is one. They are not two, they are not three. It is one, but it has different actors at different levels who come together to perform specific but related roles, which ensure that the government as a whole delivers. All that is about nothing but teamwork. So teamwork is the way to go.
Commissioner, from the discussion we are having, I note that excellence must be intentional by setting clear goals, that this is what I achieve, but at the end of the day, somebody needs to evaluate it, how that person is performing. What thoughts or ideas do you give about personal evaluation, evaluation maybe at the business level, or maybe in terms of career? What ideas do you give to the viewers on that?
Absolutely, Julius. If you don't have a plan, then you have no locus. If I'm going to Kampala, now like me who comes from the east, we used to use a lot the main Jinja Road, but it can be heavily jammed. So sometimes we pass through Buikwe, Nyenga, through Jinja, or sometimes through Kayunga. It's a bit longer, but it's not heavily jammed by traffic, so you move faster. So what am I saying about execution? One, you need clear targets. And that's why for government, we have the Vision 2040. To achieve the Vision 2040, we have national development plans. Right now, we have the NDP 3, which will be followed by the NDP 4. So the NDP 3 has milestones and deliverables. Then related to that, we also have the manifesto of the government of NRM for the period 2021 to 2026. It has very clear deliverables. What does that mean then? We need to pick those and break them into actionable work plans, annual work plans. So year one, like now the manifesto, we are in year one, which is going to end in June of this year. So we implement those, and that's why, for example, as we talk, the Manifesto Week is being hosted by the Office of the President right here in Kampala. They are looking at, okay, these things you said you are going to do in year one, have you done them? That is part of the monitoring and evaluation. Because if you are not monitoring and evaluating yourself, then you will not know whether or not you are on track and how far you are going in as far as implementing the targets we talked about are concerned. Whether you are in the private sector, you also need a plan. You also need the objectives. Maybe my turnover is now 100 million, and in the next 3 years, I want my turnover, annual turnover, to increase to 400 million. What do I do? Do I need to introduce new products? Do I need to improve the products I already have so I sell more? Do I need to open new markets? Do I need to improve my distribution mechanisms so I open up new markets? Do I need to train my staff more so they are more productive? So all that means you don't just achieve the success out of nowhere. You don't achieve your objectives out of nowhere. You need a plan which you must execute, because sometimes we write plans and they remain on shelves. That's not going to help us. So a plan, execute it, monitoring where you have milestones, maybe every 4 months, I'm going to check on these various aspects of my plan. Then the evaluation is periodic. Like now I'm talking about the manifesto week. We are evaluating this year that is ending, the first of the 5 years of the tenure of the government from 2021 to 2026. Without that, you would only speculate, because then you don't know, one, whether you are on track, you are doing the right things, but two, you are doing them the right way, and three, you are delivering the outputs or the commitments that you set out to achieve under, whether it's a plan or a manifesto, or there are even strategic plans, like these, even our government corporate bodies. If you're a corporate body of even government and you don't have a strategic plan, then probably you don't know where you are going. Because then how do you know what you are doing this year and what you will do next year? That's why, even at personal level, you find someone maybe sees something else is working for another person and he copies it. But that person might be implementing his plan. Instead of you having your own, which you also implement, you are picking things someone else is doing, but which fit in a plan that is unique to what that person is doing. So even at personal level, career-wise, you need a plan. And that's why you see now some people are going back to school, doing evening courses. They are doing courses on the weekends. The whole point is that, where do I want to go? Where are the gaps in my profile or CV as it is now? And which short courses or longer courses do I need to undertake in order for me to build my profile to reach the next stage? So even at personal level, you need a plan, you need an execution mechanism. For example, if you want to join the UN and you don't know even one single international language, you don't know German, you don't know French, maybe even in this region you don't even know Swahili, how are you going to work? Maybe in Djibouti, because the UN is one, it's global. Maybe you might need to learn Spanish, you might need to learn Portuguese, But they might be looking for someone with your profile, but who they want to deploy in Seychelles, in Brazil, in Indonesia. So it is your plan that should guide you. Whether you are doing additional training, whether you are joining professional clubs, all of these should be aligned with your career objectives. It's the same in business, whether in the private sector, in the public sector, in fact, even civil society. So you need the medium-term plans, which are strategic plans, and the annual execution plans, which ensure that you achieve your strategic plan, which then you can extend. In our case as government, then that leads us to the Vision 2040 through different segments of strategic plan, rather development plans, which are implemented through annual plans and budgets. Like the one which is going to be read in June is for next financial year, which is 2022 to 2023. By 2025, we should have achieved the NDP3. So our annual budgets should be speaking and aligned to the NDP3. Then by 2026, we should have also implemented all the commitments in the government manifesto of NRM. So otherwise, you wake up, maybe Julius is doing this thing, it is working for him, and you also copy. But you don't know why Julius is doing it. Julius is doing certification in maybe Oracle. You are doing it, but does it apply to you? Does it fit in your personal career plan for now and the future? You see that? That's why having a plan, even as a professional, is a requirement. A plan is the locus. It's what gives you direction. It's like a rudder. Because if you don't have a rudder and you are sailing a ship, you might be going to Brazil and you end up in India. But the rudder, that locus, is the one that keeps showing you that you're on the right path, or maybe turn right by so many degrees, those nautical miles. I'm not an engineer, but that's what keeps you on track to eventually achieve what you aspire for in the longer term. So it is critical, it is very important, Julius, and I really want to encourage especially the young people. There are no two ways, there are no shortcuts. You must have a plan for your life. You need to talk to mentors who build you and encourage you. and even challenge you to get the best out of you and to keep you on track. So you don't get diverted. Now there's global television, Julius. Young people are watching pornography, semi-nude, those vulgar dances and what. Yet these are people who should be aspiring to build their careers and eventually be useful people to themselves, to their families, to their communities, and to our country. So I would be very happy if I know that our young people, each of you outside there watching Smart 24, that you have a plan for your life, and you also have an execution arrangement for your plan. And don't be shy. Look out to people who have done what you're aspiring to do, to guide and nurture and support you and coach you and train you. Nothing in life is really impossible. We saw, when I was growing up, I didn't know that an African would become a president of the US. When President Obama was campaigning, I was saying, really, can it happen? Eh? And you remember his slogan was, yes, we can. Yes, we can. So yes, you can if you have a plan, you have a strategy, and you are committed and you have the discipline to implement your plan. Eh?
Commissioner, we would have loved to continue going on and on. It's really been a blessing and an honor hosting you on Smart 24 TV, especially on the Be Your Best program. You have inspired many. We wish to sincerely thank you, and also we thank the viewers for watching this show, and we encourage them to continue watching Smart 24 TV. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ndugu Julius. It's really a privilege and a blessing to be host on this great television. I want to thank you, the host, but I also want to thank management for programs like this that inspire our people and add value to our country. And may God bless you and bless our TV station and our country. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.